So we're just returning home from another great trip, multi-client trip out northeast this time. And one of three eastern trips that I have planned for the year. And it never fails. We have a laundry list of things to do. We have sold the house farm here. And so we are cleaning and packing and, that ever so, everybody loves to pack, right? Everybody loves to move. Well, I'm not one of those people. So it is what it is. We got to get it done. And it's kind of steps into the next process here ahead of us, the next adventure here ahead of us, which is moving to the great state of Kentucky. And some of you know that already. Some of you have not heard that. We feel pretty blessed to have purchased a place down there and made the decision that I will be heading down there permanently and traveling the country from there. Now that centrally locates me. That was one of the big decisions, and we will be based in that Washington County area just outside of the town of Harrodsburg. So we are back home. I wanted to bring you that update first of all, and also it's turkey season here in Michigan. So camo on, still got the camo pants on, rehydrating, and just got the boys out in the woods this morning for the first turkey hunt of the year. And sadly my weekends and turkey hunting this time of the year is limited with them. Because the simple fact that I am on the road helping others get their whitetail properties settled off and kicked off and ready for the year. So today's video is something that we want to talk about, something I wanted to chat about here, because at the this time of the year it's easier for me to, what I do is I'm not able to post as many videos because I don't have anyone on full time yet, like I've said, that does my filming and my editing. I'm a one-man show at that, so my son does a great job when he's able to travel, but he'll be 16 in August and has his first job helping one of our friends in a lawn service here locally here in Michigan. So he's a working man now too. So what we are doing is these videos are points that I collect over the week or the 2-week gap between the videos, and I always try to weed out, so I have a very limited time here, obviously, like I said, with the moving and the clients. And so what I always do is I look back and kind of go over what is one of the major questions that keeps popping up that everyone is asking, or that we are working through as far as consultant and client basis. And that question is what I'm going to be bringing you. Those answers to those questions is what I'm going to be bringing you throughout the rest of the habitat season. And the reason I think that is, guys, as I've touched on this before, the reason that I think that and I feel that way, that I need to bring these, is because if one of you is asking about it multiple during the trip, that week's trip, no matter where I'm at in the country, there's probably a lot of others of you that are asking the same question, or maybe struggling, or just trying to process that through your habitat plan and design and creation. So this week we're going to talk about the habitat improvement itself. There's a lot of information out there about habitat improvement. What to do, what to do, when to do it, and how do we set up these whitetail farms, and what is habitat, and all the things together. Now, to me, the thing that I try to strive to my clients is, it's not so much the learning curve on what as far as habitat to do, because I think we all get the idea of habitat and deer habitat and what is deer habitat and how to create that. Now, my biggest thing is that I see time and time again, is that I really try to help my folks with as well, is where to place that habitat. You can spend hours and hours and online and studying the correct habitat to do, and the correct habitat on someone else's farm might not be the correct habitat on your farm, on your parcel. And that is something that I learned years ago as a individual myself, before I was doing this full time with clients all over the country. That is really something that really resonated with me, and that I was able to weed out in early stages. is to me it's kind of like whitetail hunting. Not every buck is the same, right? They don't act the same. They don't travel the same. Now there's a lot of strategies out there that we take into the woods with us, that we all kind of practice as far as how to be successful on a whitetail hunt. But not every deer is the same, and that's exactly the parcel. That's exactly the example on these parcels. Not every parcel or every property is the same. So where does that lead? Excuse me. What does that lead us into? What that leads us into is this: the fact of the matter is we have to study and we have to get comfortable on what and where to implement these habitat improvements. So the first thing that we're going to touch on is the habitat improvement. To me, that a lot of folks overlook is we all understand the importance of edge. We all understand why we create edge. The whitetail deer are the creature of edge, and we all hunt edge. We look for edge, whether that's private or public ground. We're all searching for that that edge, whether that's a 6-inch change in the center of a food plot from brassicas to your brassicas to your grains. That's why we plant that stuff long and linear with the transitions to keep deer moving, so we don't collect stagnant deer in the middle of a plot. So all of that stuff is taught and researched, but it's something that you have to see to believe sometimes, right? Telling somebody that it works and showing somebody that it works are two different things. That's why I'm pretty excited about this property, this adventure that I've got coming up here in Kentucky, not only for myself but for you guys as well. I'm pretty blessed to be able to travel the country and help everybody implement the strategies and the habitat and where to implement the habitat. But not having that a large amount of acreage. I've got the 12 acres here. We've got a couple of properties here that we manage in Michigan. We've got public ground that we hunt, and it's got us to this point. And for that, I do feel very blessed. But having this opportunity here, 65 acres, 30 acres of open ground, about 25 acres of that is tillable, where we're going to be able to really do some in-depth videos coming up here to show you guys not only what habitat improvements, but where to place those. So back to the point of the first and largest topic here is where to place that. With the edge, guys, that's why I create and I design to my transition areas. This week I kind of got a plug, if you will, and I've been criticized maybe before about some ideas that I have that surface around the YouTube world, I guess you could say. And well, you're just following someone else's designs, and you always want to be this person or that person. Well, that it's kind of like, I refer that back to a used car salesman or being a car salesman or in the sales and anywhere. Sometimes maybe the strategy is the same, but all of us do have our own implementation of how we get to the end of the sale, right? And I guess that can go for whole different platforms, a lot of different platforms in the professional world. So this week I was actually sent a link to a pretty popular name in the industry. You guys all know him, and he was using the importance of setting that transition, and a couple of them actually have said that they've reached out to a couple people in the industry, and they've used that term now in transition. I use that terminology to separate transition areas from a corridor. To me, your transition area is that limitation line that we create. It might be 50 yards in, it might be 150 yards in, depending on that contour or your contour. In that, if we start in your southeast corner, when we start designing, I'm going to end up back in that southeast corner. And by laying that out, that is the first and foremost thing that we focus on, is along that, how to get into that area, how to set that transition area up, how wide the transition area needs to be, what we're implementing as far as, are we mulching it out, are we taking the timber out of it, how are we creating it, and then obviously the pinnacle is where we're putting it, and we're putting it on that transition area in front of your tree stands, creating edge so we can hunt those locations. On that transition area, on my designs, I always have food. The food always falls on the transition. It's never away from the transition. and then my bedding obviously is adjacent to my food sources. So that's my way of doing that, but that is one of the most powerful pieces that I can see, guys, that you know, a lot of folks, and I'm not talking about consultants, I'm talking about in the whole habitat industry in general, or the implementation of habitat improvement in general. Whitetail habitat improvement is to go out and to create certain habitat features that don't relate to your hunt. And that's something to me that I've been trying to strive, you know, and to do, and really make folks understand that has to fit. That has to fit has to fit the design. It has to fit the huntability of your farm, because it's as simple as that. If the habitat improvements that you're creating don't fit the huntability of your farm, you're not going to have a hunt. Obviously, you might be creating great habitat as far as bedding. You might be changing. You might be adding diversity to your property. But if it's not in the spots where you can hunt it, it's all for none, right? So that's why you see me stressing these transition areas a lot. And it's a learning curve. I state that right off the bat with my clients before we even walk on their property, that we are going to cover a lot of information in a short amount of time. And that's why I do my handbook. That's why I stay on with my clients free at no other extra charge for a year. And then I revisit my clients every 3 years. That's the only additional charge that you ever have with me. So at the end of the day, one thing to remember is all of the habitat improvement that you are creating. Now, important word, habitat improvement that you're creating, all should be in front of your tree stand location. None of it should be behind. There is a couple exceptions to that rule. If you're hunting internal in a deep ditch line that you can get in past you can cut the line of travel at some point, hopefully at one of your points of impact or near your tree stand location, drop into a deep ravine, a creek bottom, creek shelf that you can penetrate further into the property, something like that, to get in closer to those buck bedding pockets that we create, or the buck bedding in general in the center of your property, or your center of your property, or your partial. But with that said, the majority of it needs to be created in front of you. And why does it need to be created in front of you? Because all of the designs that I create, guys, whether you're listening in that you're one of my properties that I have done, or you're one of the properties yet to come, or you're a viewer that follows along, that that I feel very thankful for, any of that, whatever approach that whatever area that you're in, that you fall into that with, as far as my clients, whether you're just on here as a subscriber, or you're one of the clients that I visited or designed for already or yet to come, you will see that the rim that we create around the outside of the property, which is behind all of your stand locations, from there all the way to your fence rows, because you're teeing into your transition, that is the area that is on my designs. It's all labeled as and discussed as the TSI area, and that TSI is timber stand improvement, not habitat improvement. And the reason that that's timber stand improvement and kept that way is so you can interrupt that, and you create, so you're not habitat improving that, you're taking the habitat value of that away, so you can get in to those stand locations. And then the rest of your habitat is all created in front of your stands, not behind it. So a couple of points there that I wanted to reach out and touch on. Very important to know the difference between creating habitat and placing the habitat in the right location.